everybody. Welcome to the Game Junkie Show. It's pretty exciting that we're going to have our first bonus episode and another first-time guest. Super, super fucking exciting. I'm your host, Hyrule Crystal, the bringer of the BTs. And joining me today is the mischievous Batmat.
Elden Ring was delayed.
The gruesome Gurnico.
Hello.
And the jugular slicing Justin.
Yeah, yes.
Yes! First time guest. Thanks so much, Justin. I love first-time guests, and I love return guests, because this show has the best fucking guests in the business. And this is a very special Halloween episode, and we are going to rave about our favorite horror games. Justin, as the amazing, beautiful, brilliant guest, tell us a horror game that you just absolutely fucking love, and why.
Gosh, and there's quite a few, but I'm just going to have to go back to something that started it all for me in general, and that's the original Resident Evil. As corny as it is now and as cheesy as it is, the reason that one sticks out to me so much, not just because it created a genre or helped create a genre, because it was really that one and Alone in the Dark that had that 3D static camera angles and puzzles and everything. But I was terrified of zombies when I was a young kid. I thought they were real and they were gonna bust down my window. I remember going in bed and being like, I don't want zombies to come into the window. It freaked me out. I would think about it so much. So zombie movies scared me completely. But when they showed that game, I was like, I got to conquer this fear. And so that was the game that did it for me. And little did I know there'd be, not only zombies, but huge spiders, which I also don't like, crows, crazy, dogs. And that, even though it's not really so scary now, and the remake is way more intense, and a better visualization of that series in general, it just stuck with me. And it is forever ingrained in my brain as one of the most scariest experiences of my life and gaming. So
I'm still kind of like that. I'm still like, I just don't fucking like zombies, dude. I know they're not real. I don't care. I don't fucking like them. And they're extremely ugly. And I'm not trying to be mean. Say it'd be better if they were attractive, but I just don't fucking like them.
I feel it.
Dude, it's not my cup of tea. Matt, what about you? What is a horror game that you absolutely love?
I want to talk about Tormented Souls. That came out this year and had absolutely no idea what it was before. And it was just randomly, I woke up one morning and somebody posted on Twitter that you could download this demo. So I downloaded it. And it was something that you don't really see anymore, where it was like going back and playing something like the first Resident Evil again. I was like, I play a lot of horror games, and Tormented Souls had such great atmosphere that I actually was nervous to walk down the hallways or go into a room, and that's something that is that I really hold dear now, because so many games really aren't like that. Even Resident Evil now, while it's great, is not as atmospheric as it once was. So yeah, Tormented Souls. I really hope more people play it. I just saw today that it's coming to the Switch. I didn't realize that. So I'm hoping more people give it a chance, because I know quite a few people in our community were playing it, but I haven't seen much talk about it since. So yeah,
I've seen a bit of talk. It fell off a little bit, but hopefully folks that haven't tried it will see this and be like, I got to get that atmosphere.
Great game.
Beauty. Gurnico, what about you? What is a horror game that you just fucking love?
Well, I was going to say Resident Evil 1 GameCube remake, but since it was already covered, I'll choose another one that was greatly impactful for me, which was Silent Hill 2. And Silent Hill 2 was a game that I bought the game before I was able to get the system. I was getting the system for Christmas, and I remember going to the game store and trading in some of my games, and I asked the guy at the counter what the best games were, and he told me Silent Hill 2, and he said it was going to scare the piss out of me because I was so that was 2001. That was 20 years ago, and I am 33. So what? I would have been 13. Yeah. So Silent Hill 2 was awesome because it was a survival horror, so I was familiar with the genre with Resident Evil, but it was a lot more psychological. And I remember seeing the first real enemy that like frightened the shit out of me, which was Pyramid Head, because the first time you see him, he's basically raping some mannequin dolls while you're like hiding in the closet. And I was like, what the flippin' F, dude. Like, and that was literally a game where I would call my friend to come over, but he didn't know that I was really inviting him over so that I could play Silent Hill 2 without being freaked out in my room playing it alone. So Silent Hill 2 was pretty impactful for me. So I'll go with that one.
At 13, like to get that kind of
13, yeah.
Holy
definitely.
shit. I mean, even as an adult, that scene makes me cringe, but to be 13, I'm gonna take this back, way back to a really fucked up game that I think they may have pulled off the shelves or tried to censor. I would consider it a horror game, Manhunt.
Oh yeah,
I love that game.
That's a horror game,
I still have
right?
that.
I'm a wimp.
Oh yeah.
So like horror for me might be like Happy Meal level, but Manhunt was a fucking amazing.
Those games are crazy.
And I remember thinking, like, this is so cool. I've never played anything like this. It's so gory. It's so fucked up. Like, there's so much tension. I love the way it just took. I got to go with Manhunt. Manhunt is an exceptional game, and I don't know.
Did you play the second one?
Yeah, but the second one I got was super censored, and it wasn't the same thing. So I just like. The first Manhunt at the time dared to really push the envelope of what kind of games we could get on console, and it just took so long for us.
That would never be released today.
Probably not. I was going to ask.
We'll never see that game again.
There's never.
I have it. I have it
too.
Has there ever?
I will never get rid of that game.
Can you guys recall? Has there been anything that's quite?
I think the closest thing, honestly, The Last of Us 2 kind of gives me Manhunt vibes, to be honest.
I can see that.
I thought that when I was playing the Last of Us 1, which is weird.
Yeah.
Just the gameplay is very similar in the way that you kind of pick off the enemies as you go around, and it's pretty violent.
You don't choke anybody out with a plastic bag, though.
That's crazy. I remember seeing that, and just it blew my mind that made it into a video game.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the most shocking.
Didn't the pig guy with the chainsaw, wasn't his nuts hanging out too?
Yeah, you would hold down the kill button, and it would do like a more violent kill the longer you held it down.
Yeah,
that's
How
crazy.
How fucking cool was that, though?
It's awesome.
Oh, it's awesome! Awesome game.
And was that Rockstar? Was that?
Yeah.
And it gave like an 80s vibe too to me, like a dark, gritty 80s like Warriors, but taken way extreme vibe when I played it. And I'd never forget that game either.
I think it was the first time in a fantasy setting that I was like, I enjoy like brutally murdering people. Like it's fantasy, but it was like
it's fantasy.
It gave me so much satisfaction to do the worst shit. And
you would pick up a new weapon and then just wonder what you could do with it. Yeah.
And the survival elements, and I don't normally like tension. The reason I don't like horror is I don't like the feeling of anxiety, but it delivered that tension in a way that I just couldn't stop playing it, because sometimes the survival element is just delivered in such a way I was just fucking hooked. That was really probably the first like gory horror game that ever hooked me, and I think it's probably one of the best.
Let's see them remaster that.
That would
won't happen. It won't happen.
I would absolutely buy that twice.
So would I.
I probably would too. Let's see what a couple folks from the Twitter fam said. Caden here said, Cry of Fear is probably one of his scariest games that he played. I actually asked folks what the scariest game they played.
I've heard of it.
It's a free to play one.
Yeah, he said it started out as a mod of Half-Life, and then it became a standalone game, and he never beat it because it caused too much stress.
So I have a story on that game. My friend from the UK wanted me to play it, and he goes, "When you play the beginning, I want you to stream yourself, or go in a live chat with me so I can see you." So he's just watching me in the dark, and I have a clip of it somewhere. But something so scary, like jump scare, happened to me. I literally like screamed, and I started tearing up, and all you can hear in the headphone is him laughing his ass off.
That's awesome.
It was pretty intense.
That's fantastic. I love that. Tristan said, I like how he prefaces this. He says, "You're going to laugh. Zombie U. It has a mechanic where if you die, your character gets turned into a zombie and remains at where you died. And if you die before you kill or loot your old self, you will lose all of your items permanently. And that level of tension made the whole game scary." So it kind of combines like
never played that one either.
That sounds
that was a Wii U exclusive for a while, and then it came to you can still get it, but it's just called Zombie, spelled with an I, just an I.
Yeah.
It's almost,
it was very tense. That would kind of give you that Dark Souls tension, because you can die and lose your stuff, and then you have to go get it. And that one is interesting too, because on the final mission, I got to the final mission. When you have to make a beeline for like the helicopter that rescues you, if you die at that segment, game over. You have to start the whole game over. Like so when that happened, I was just like, I almost made it, and it was the most enthralling, thrilling, oh my god moment. And I died, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna watch the ending on YouTube. It's probably just them flying a helicopter, and that's pretty much what it was. The game wasn't about the story really per se. It was about the experience, and so it gave me something I'll never forget as well, because I was just like, "Oh my god, I died! I can't believe I died!"
Is that the one where you had to like reach into your backpack and grab the stuff in real time? I thought that was cool. I wish I played it.
That sounds cool. I mean, you should play it. People still do have Wii somewhere.
Well, you can play it on PS4 actually.
Yeah.
On PS5.
It was free, wasn't it? We probably all have it.
It was free. Yeah, I do have it. I never played it.
I'm glad that somebody here has played the stuff that the Twitter fam has talked about. So Justin, let's go back to you. What's another horror game you think is just an absolutely fantastic game?
Don't say it.
I don't know.
I only picked one.
So I have many I can pick from, but I'm gonna go with and it gets a lot of criticism, and I get it, because it is kind of it's kind of all over the place at times, but I'm gonna have to go with The Evil Within.
Nice.
And it's hard, which people don't like. It can be really hard early on in the game, and people I know so many people that got to the chainsaw guy and were like, "I'm done, like I can't do it." And
I did that.
yeah, see, and the plot is all over the place, because you're really not supposed to know what's going on. The game is basically built to be kind of like a nightmare, but by the end of it, you kind of piece it all together and it makes sense. But it was a return to horror from Shinji Mikami, and he was the creator of Resident Evil, and I just thought it was a really unique take on a new horror game, because we had kind of been lacking third person horror games around that time. There were so many first person runaway, this, that, and then they come back and it's like you've got guns and you're third person and you're stealthing, and it kind of had a little bit of a Last of Us vibe, mechanics, which I'm sure they were influenced by a bit. And I just thought it was freaking awesome. Just it does things, and I really like when horror games do this, when they kind of subvert your expectations, or they mess with you like in a mental way, like you go in a room and it's flipped upside down, or things disappear, or doors appear, things that just mess with your head. Because even though like enemies coming at you and not having ammo is scary, and that just things messing with you, like I swear I just entered this door, which is the door, that's freaky stuff. So I would say The Evil Within is one of my favorites.
Dude, do you remember seeing the live action trailer for that game?
Yes.
Oh man, I was so stoked, because we hadn't gotten like any real survival horror before that. So I remember, like, man, I was so stoked for The Evil Within to come out.
I remember watching my one of my real life friends who likes that shit, and he got the game, and I said, I'll watch you play it. I don't think I can play it. He paused. Tim, I love you, bro. He paused it and was like, you have to leave. He literally was like, he paused and he said, you're worse than the game. Like you're tense and you're scary. Like you're screaming and you're freaking out and you're bouncing and like you're making it worse for me. I can't get through this with you over there, like doing your eek ack and screaming. And I was a fucking wreck watching him play this game, which it doesn't
got to stop.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's what's cool about horror games in general and how it affects different people depending on what's going on. And one more last thing to note about the Evil Within that I really liked is that it just had a really dark, gritty vibe to it, much like Manhunt. It looks nasty at times. It doesn't look bright and colorful a lot of times. It's dark, it's grim, butchery, and it just has that thing. Even the second game doesn't have that style. The second game kind of goes for more of a psychological and weird stuff and more of a cleaner look. But it's just when I think of Evil Within, I think of dirty, grimy, 80s, 90s horror.
Lots of blood.
Yeah, lots of blood. And so that's just why it sticks out to me.
Awesome. That's a good pick. Matt, do you have, I know you said you only really went with one, but is there another horror title that you just think like, man, this is either a really good game or this is a scary fucking game?
Does Bloodborne count?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Is Bloodborne a horror game?
I mean, it would scare me because it's got fucking spiders in it.
Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, it could be a horror game.
I mean, what can be said about Bloodborne that hasn't already been said? It's amazing. It's the best game ever made. But I guess one of the coolest things about it would be the fact that as your character slowly goes more insane, they can see more things happening in the world. And that's a pretty cool psychological horror element to it.
Oh, that's definitely very horror-esque.
Oh, yeah.
That counts.
Like
That
the more
blew my
creatures,
mind.
the more creatures you kill, you gain more insight, and then you see the bigger creatures. Yeah.
The amygdalas.
I don't want to spoil it or anything, but everyone should play Bloodborne.
At least once.
At least once. Finish
I'm gonna
Bloodborne.
have to professionally retire from Twitter, or either play all FromSoft games. One of those two things.
You should play Bloodborne on stream, and we'll coach you.
Oh,
Yes.
God, that's actually kind of a neat idea. Yeah, I would say to me, what you're describing, that I would say that's very like horror-esque vibes.
Yeah,
Totally.
you definitely go down a rabbit hole when you play that game.
That counts. Absolutely counts. Gurnico, what's another horror game that you think is an excellent game, or a game that is just completely scary?
So I'm going to go with a more recent title. And I would say RE7 in VR, specifically in VR.
Yeah.
I think that might be the scariest game I've ever played in VR. Like, again, you have to play it in VR. It's just one of those things when you're inside of the headset and you come up against Jack Baker and you see just the scale of him being in front of you with an axe, it instills so much more fear than just seeing him on the TV screen. I mean, there is a general presence there. And I think that VR's biggest strength is absolutely horror. Playing Resident Evil 7 in VR was the first way I played through the whole game. And that was literally a game where I don't scare very easily. I mean, I fall asleep to Nightmare on Elm Street, and I love horror. And my wife could literally hear me scream from the living room because it was such a visceral experience. When a monster would jump out at you, your heart literally palpitates, and it's fucking awesome. But I really hope or wish that RA Village had VR mode, but
Me too.
fortunately it does not.
Did they ever make a VR version of Alien Isolation?
Oh my god.
That seems weird that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Oh,
There has to be
You're
a mod
right?
for that.
That would terrify. I think that would almost be too.
Yeah, gotta play it.
You just be doing this.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they never made it.
I would be willing to do that only for people to watch me be a gigantic bitch. Like that would it would. Oh fuck, man. Again, I don't know. To me, this is horror. To me, I would say The Last of Us 2 is horror. The Rat King scared me. I don't like zombies. Those fucking stalkers can piss off and die. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I thought it was horror and it had a survival element, especially if you're playing on like hard difficulty. I felt it was legitimately a very tense game, start to finish, but such a well-crafted game. I never pieced together that it was like Manhunt until you guys said it, which might be why I like it, because that seems to be a combat style that I'm clearly very...
I would say it's like cinematic survival horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I was like very hesitant about getting into that series because, dude, I fucking do not like zombies. Like I don't even like Little Nightmares. That's how much I don't like tension. But I'm getting better about it thanks to my Twitter family, and it turns out some of these very tense, even some Death Stranding stuff was really fucking tense, but it's so good in how it's delivered. So
Did you beat Death Stranding yet?
I did.
You beat it?
I did. I rolled.
Oh my gosh, we got to talk about that after
it.
the show a little bit.
Wow. I have a lot to say about that, but I don't want to go off on that rabbit hole. Let's go get some more. Let's get some more opinions here from the Twitter fam and see what we think about these scary games. Dana, hello, beautiful. Dana, Dead Space. Dana, she couldn't finish Dead Space.
Can't believe I didn't say that.
Just too scary. Alien Isolation, yes, and Fear. Alien Isolation and Fear for me were great games, by the way. I couldn't finish them because they were entirely too fucking creepy. Well, the alien bitch was smarter than me, it turns out, and I spent 40 hours before I realized, oh, she's not.
Fear 2 was good too.
I didn't get that far. Fear 1 scared the shit out of me, and that was when I first got surround sound. So when I started hearing that shit behind me, I was like, I'm done. Yeah.
Fear is the little girl Alma, right?
Yeah.
Fear was cool. I barely remember Fear though, because it's been like so long since I played it.
It's like she was chasing you, and she gets pregnant.
Yes.
And...
It had some really cool like set pieces too.
Yeah,
of like the hallways filling with blood and
it was like an army tactical first-person shooter mixed with like the Ring scary stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes,
that was cool.
That's the game that I would say kind of broke me. Like that game really made me kind of hesitant.
It's scary.
I was terrified. I couldn't finish it. That fucking girl haunted my dreams for like.
So wait, for someone who's afraid of horror stuff, you played Alien Isolation and Fear?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think people put her up to it.
My little brother was big into Alien Isolation, and he wanted me. Like I went over and tried it. We were playing it together. It's a really good. Some of these horror games are excellent games. They're crafted really well. Like they're incredible games. They just make me so nervous. But I don't know if part of that is just me being in my head saying I don't like feeling anxious, but the purpose is being anxious.
Yeah.
Like Death Stranding rewired me, and part of the tension was part of the. So I'm kind of opening up a bit more to getting through those kind of tense, because the last two did that to me, and it was so fucking worth it.
I'm like Anxiety 101 here, and I play a shit ton of horror games. So it's like I feel like there's some release of anxiety through anxiety in a way of playing games. And I just want to give a shout out to the series Condemned for doing such a cool melee.
That needs to come back.
Melee like friggin' horror game, and that both those games just. There was things in those games I was like, leave me alone. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah.
You remember the mannequins and stuff?
Oh yeah. And I remember that came out on 360 launch, and I played it in the dark, and it was terrifying. And like I'm like, oh my God, there's crazy bums attacking me. Ah! Ah! And I'm like, don't. And then I remember in the sequel, man, they kind of really upped the ante, and they had like a killer bear come after you in a cabin. And I was like, I'm out. I had to stop.
The cool thing about those games was the detective element too.
Oh my
where you're,
God,
like trying to
yes.
solve crimes and shit while the crazy meth heads were coming after you.
The forensics part was really
It
cool.
was so cool.
Very cool.
Sounds cool.
Surprised it didn't continue. Honestly, I'm surprised. Those games were good.
It's
Arkham.
ahead.
I feel like the Arkham games kind of had that similar detective thing, but like we don't get a lot of those really good detective kind of
No,
experiences
it's weird,
where they
hey?
give you all the gadgets and tools to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was a really cool game.
and it's to me it's kind of sad that the teams that were behind that are now just like Shadow of Mordor and
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that those don't have fans and that those aren't good, but they had crafted such excellent horror games and now they don't touch horror at all, and it's kind of like like
That's honestly where a lot of my bitterness comes from. It's not that the stuff that they make is bad. It's just that I really loved the stuff that the teams previously made more.
yeah.
Like we traded Deus Ex for, Guardians, which I'm not saying Guardians could be fantastic, but I don't think it's going to be better than Deus Ex. I'm just saying. But, for me, that's my taste.
Deus Ex.
Totally.
That was a damn good series. I didn't think I'd like that one, but that was a damn good
Yeah.
series. Not horror though at all. I'm not afraid of that. Don't worry. Let's see here. Chrono G says the original Silent Hill back on PlayStation was super scary for him.
I
And
just beat that again this year.
that. See, I love that you jump into these old school games and like pull out an old. Don't you have an old CRT TV for that?
I do.
See, that's so fucking dope. You
Yeah.
could-
That's one heavy mama jama.
Silent Hill is
It
scary,
was
man.
really fucking heavy. I got it up the stairs this year, actually.
Oh, your
oh
poor
my
back.
god,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
And Silent Hill, I have a cool story about that one. When it came out, there was something very fascinating with the internet not being so big as it is now. Because back then, internet was just starting. So you couldn't go on YouTube and find playthroughs of things and reviews out the butt. So you wouldn't know anything unless you got the game magazines. And I remember we went into a Blockbuster, me and my friend, and we rented Metal Gear Solid. And we're looking around and we're like, hey, there's this Silent Hill game and it's a Konami game too. What is it? I don't know. It just says you're this guy and his daughter's missing. Cool, let's rent it. We popped it in, we did that first sequence, and we were like, this is terrifying. Like, what is going on? And we couldn't stop playing it. And we played into the late hours. And then I remember when we finished it, we're like, what did we just play? Because the story in one's you got to really piece it together. But it was another one of those mind-blowing, like, how did this game come out and just blow people away? So,
You know what else is crazy? One day, at some point in the future, someone is going to watch this on YouTube or listen to it, wherever they're listening to it, and go, what's a Blockbuster? And they'll have to, Google what a Blockbuster was. That's crazy.
Lots of people probably are already doing that.
Yeah.
When they're going to listen to it this time.
It was the promised land.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There was something so genuine about going to a
Game Pass
store
of the 90s.
and picking something and just like, oh, this cover looks really cool. And you did it with movies and you did it with games and you're like, okay, let's check it out. And sometimes you got shit and sometimes you got really awesome stuff. So
there's something fun about renting a bad game too, though.
Oh yes.
But it was still, I don't know, there was something about it that I really, really miss. Every Tuesdays when all the video games would release. So every single Tuesday I would go to rent.
Yeah, man. Friday night came along, you'd go to the pizza shop, put in your order, and then go and check out Blockbuster and go to the horror section. At least I would, and look at all the shit and get a game, get a movie, and have a good weekend. Yeah, it was fun. I never could get past that damn piano puzzle in Silent Hill, though, so I never beat it.
That's way too complicated for a child to solve.
Jesus Christ. People complain about puzzles these days. I'm like, go back and play Silent Hill.
David Jaffe can't shoot a block.
Wow. That's fantastic. That was damn.
Which is something you do in all those games, by the way.
Oh my God. Let's see. Caffeinated Dead Guy picked Outlast.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Outlast is scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very scary.
He didn't say anything about it. Just he has a very sad upset emoji, so clearly.
Kind of difficult too,
Those
actually.
games are messed up.
Outlast was freaking awesome because there, like, you didn't have any combat, and like you were finding batteries to keep your light on, like, and you had to manage like your camcorder light, so you would have to, brave the dark sometimes and hide under a bed and hide under a locker while something is stalking you, and
you can run out of batteries and have no light too.
Yeah,
totally. I had that happen to me.
No way.
Have you played Outlast, Crystal?
Absolutely not. But when you talk about
Outlast,
you'll shit your pants.
It's very scary.
Like here's the remote, and I'm playing Last of Us 2, and the battery starts to go dim, and I'm like the whole fucking the neighbors can hear me beating that fucking remote because I'm like, absolutely not. Like
in The Last of Us.
Isn't it in The Last
of Us? It is in The Last of Us, but your batteries actually can't die in The Last of Us. Yeah, they literally can die in Outlast, and you'll be in the dark.
That's the point I'm trying to make, is a few seconds in the dark, I panic. And I'm like throwing remotes against walls to turn that shit back on.
And your best weapon in Outlast is running the fuck away.
It's like a dark, pretty much haunted asylum, and you're just wandering around.
I feel like I would actually like these games if I taught myself.
Cuts off your fingers or something. Been a while.
I think I would like these games if I played them more. Like when I get scared holding a remote, I freeze, but that's not what I do in real life scenarios. So I feel like if I could get by whatever mentally is hanging me up there, I feel like I would enjoy.
It's basically a horror
try something in VR.
I have an Oculus Quest, but I'm not about to play Arizona Sunshine. It's just I'm not I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Let's one thing at a time. I already committed to playing Returnal. Returnal is on the way.
You're playing Returnal now.
I will be. Somebody got me a copy of Returnal, so I committed to play it. I was worried that might be a little too, but I've promised someone that I'm going to work on my chops on a few things here. You fucking you pushers. You fucking like peer pressurers.
Returnal's an awesome game.
Yes,
I'm gonna give it. Y'all are getting me into Elden Ring too.
Yeah, Returnal will definitely be good prep work for Elden Ring. That's for sure.
Oh jeez, somebody
gotta get your patience.
Don't let that third biome break you.
All right, so I'll add it to the list of ordering lube. I'll get some KY.
The third biome is the worst thing. If you get through that, you can do anything if you get through that.
I almost gave up. Returnal was a game that I deleted probably twice before I said, all right, I'm going to do this.
I deleted it too.
Those are the things I need to get by. The things that I tend to avoid is scary. Things where I die a lot, because it's like, I just don't feel like dying a lot. And I'm not a big fan of roguelike. So if I can try to get by all that, who knows?
Fucking little drone things.
Oh, the kamikazes?
The worst enemy in any game. I swear to God. If that game would be so much better without them. I'm serious. The worst part of the game.
Would you consider Returnals wouldn't be considered horror, but it would maybe be considered creepy? Would you guys say it has
psychological?
It does have Lovecraftian horror vibe. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of a cosmic.
I'd say it's a cosmic horror.
Yeah.
So then,
it's not going to scare you like where you're like, oh my god, these.
It'll make you think though.
It'll make you be like
as you piece the story together.
I'm with Justin that I actually jump scares will scare me. I enjoy horror things. It's like the movie Seven. I love psychological.
Great movie.
Seven's awesome. Yeah.
I like gore. I like I'm just not into jump scares. So if Returnal does count as a horror, then that probably should be on the list.
Jump scares suck.
I'm such a bitch with them too. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm just not good with them. But I'm trying to get better for my Twitter family. So then, would you say, since Returnal has been touted as such a good game, that would probably qualify as one of the better quality horror games, at least certainly in the last year or two?
In a way.
I wouldn't really, I mean, if I were recommending it to somebody, I wouldn't classify it as a horror game per se, but it does have like horror elements. Nothing's like really like big and scary, but like it's spooky. It's eerie. Eerie is probably the best way I could describe it.
Scary
Like,
when you get locked in one of those rooms with those huge enemies.
yeah, and you've just spent 3 hours grinding away,
Yeah.
and you're holding on for dear life.
And then your system locks up.
Oh,
Yeah, it crashes.
That was the scariest thing.
of all. Well, I'm hoping they're past that. And what you guys are describing, to me, it's like, it sounds terrible, but I also thought that about The Last of Us, and I thought that about Death Stranding, and I thought that about like other
P bombs sounded terrible.
I mean, think about it. Think about it.
Let me say this about Returnal. I'm not very audible when it comes to playing games. Like, I'll have my oh shit moments or whatever. But I guess when it comes to boss battles, I've done so many boss battles in games. It's either got to wow me with its size and stuff or just like its mechanics and things. The third biome boss, when I beat that thing, I was like, yes! Oh my God!
Me too.
Like, I was sweating. I was enthralled what was happening on the screen. I couldn't believe I was doing what I was seeing on the screen and surviving, and I did it. And I was just I don't think any boss in the game after that could come close to that boss. And it was just one of those yeah.
I think
Returnal, you're good.
Like what it is, I don't actually think that Returnal is necessarily harder than like the Souls games. It's just more unforgiving because if you die, you have to literally go back to the beginning. Whereas at least in like a Bloodborne or a Sekiro, you can die and then run right back to the boss. Whereas like if you die on the third boss, you have to go all the way back to the first level.
Yeah, and if you run through it, you're not getting all those upgrade potentials.
Exactly.
And then you're
you need to do everything.
You really got to just methodically go through it again to build yourself up. It's just really
unforgiving is the best way to put it. So you have to be very discerning with what you do with your decision making. Yeah. It's not like with the bosses, I think, are way harder in a Souls game, but you just can't make those mistakes in Returnal because if you die, you've lost your time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
But once you beat a boss, you don't have to fight all the bosses again.
Exactly.
Like once they're dead, they're dead.
Well,
yeah, you don't have to fight a boss again.
And if you even beat the first boss in Returnal, you'll be farther than most people on Twitter because most people were not even getting past that first boss.
Very true.
Well, I'm gonna do it. I don't know when. I'm gonna
beat the first boss.
Eventually, I'm gonna beat the damn thing.
Well, when you do it, you should definitely ask for some tips because I think there are definitely some quality of life things that will make your life a hell of a lot easier knowing beforehand. If you don't want to waste your time, but some people love to just experience that all blindly.
Mm-hmm.
Not on this one, because time is. If I'm gonna, that's the one that I would want.
It's gonna be hard regardless of, but knowing how to approach it will certainly make it, I think, more enjoyable. Like which weapons to use, how to spend your money, what you really don't need to waste your money on, things like that. How to use your time, because I don't think that's a game too. When you're playing it, you don't have to just grind every area and get as powerful as possible. You really only need to get to where you feel confident and then stay alive long enough to get to the boss. And the game will brutally set you back if you get too confident. Like if you're like, I can fucking walk into any room. Well, the last room you walk into right before the boss is the one that's just going to, destroy you.
That's where Doki drops down, says the fuck you are.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit crushed when I finally beat the game because I think it said it took me like 42 hours, and then I remember seeing people on Twitter being like, I beat it on my first run in 8 hours," and I was
Coco.
Yeah, so I saw someone that died only 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times. What's wrong with you? How are you that good at a roguelike game? Makes no sense.
Wow,
I don't believe it.
I am learning that the horror survival games, the things that kind of have always turned me off of them, are things that I'm starting to see are very attractive, because I feel like those games are unique from other genres, and that they test a level of intelligence, they test your patience, like they just do things that other games don't do, and the way it's delivered in the medium is really unique. So I'm starting to kind of see why people are becoming attracted to these things as I'm trying to play them more and be kind of.
I think it's also, there's a level of real life skill that you can take from the game into real life. Like patience is a real quality, to be like a character trait. So if a game can teach you patience, you can literally apply that to your real life, of being more patient in real life, or even it can test your resolve. Like, can I keep playing without throwing my controller at my TV? Like,
No.
that is your resolve, you know, and being able to beat something without cursing at your TV. That's a real life skill of being under pressure and handling problems without getting too, you know, eaten up inside. So I think that's what draws me to those kind of games is it, I feel like I'm learning as a real life human being.
What if cursing amps me? Like, if I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm like, shit, fuck, kid, fuck, twat, motherfucker, pussy, fuck. Like, I get mad, and then it hypes me, and then I'm like, about to fuck this bitch up. Like, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'll curse it out, and then, like, I'll fucking throw down, like, Franklin Clinton. Like, that's just, so I don't know. I'm one of those people. I don't know if I can, my inner badass will come out if there aren't several fucks being spoken. Like, I don't know if I have the capacity to do that. Can any of you guys do that? Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I psych myself up.
So you don't, you just like, you still sit there with the same.
No. But there's certain levels and certain bosses, you know, where like I'll be honest, when I played the Bloodborne DLC, I had to okay, it's bad, but I literally had to drink a beer to calm my nerves to fight the Bloodborne DLC bosses. Like it and it helped, but it you know, so I obviously need work in that area of, like, you know, my nerves got the better of me.
That's not bad. Matt, do you have like a thing that you do that amps you up, or like when if you lose your patience?
He's Canadian, he rolls fat joints.
I don't really lose my patience. Like, I can literally just fight a boss over and over and over and over and over, and I don't know. I'm very patient.
He's a masochist.
Wow.
I don't know.
So
but as the Bloodborne DLC is very hard, and
oh my
that
God,
almost convinced me that I hated Bloodborne. Like, there's a couple bosses in that DLC.
Did you beat all 5 bosses, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah,
with
those
patience.
bosses are.
With patience. Have you ever like put saliva in one of those cups? There's no way you have any Irish in you if you're that patient.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know.
I
honestly don't know. I don't freak out or anything like that. I just have patience. Like, I'm used to it, I guess. I don't know. It's like platinuming a game. You just tell yourself you're gonna do it, and you're just not satisfied until it's done.
Justin, what about
how
you?
I am.
You lose your patience with frustrating games, and if you do, like, how do you react?
So usually, actually, I don't. Surprisingly, I did once, and it was on Devil May Cry 3, and I was playing the game with a friend. Like, you know, we were sitting in the same room taking turns, and I was fighting a boss, and I got him all the way down to like a sliver, and I had a bunch of health, and somehow it killed me. And I remember I just took my controller and I like threw it. First time I ever did it, and my friend just looked over at me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And it's like the only time I've thrown my controller. But normally I'm really patient. What I'll usually do if I do get, like, if I start to feel like I'm getting frustrated, I'll usually like just be like, you know what? I'm going to just try it again tomorrow, and I'll put it down. And a lot of times I'll try the first time, the next time I do it. Like, it's like, all right, cool. I did it. I can't count how many times in Dark Souls, Returnal was one of them, where I couldn't beat something, and I just was like, that's enough for the day. I'll try again tomorrow. And it was almost like sleep, a refresh. You know, it got me to go, you know, like, all right, let's do this. And then I did it. And I was like, really? That was the big stink? So
I take breaks a lot. That's kind of and I'll admit I'm not the most. I've never been a super patient person, so I like put stuff down and come back to. But I do cuss. Like cursing gives me this. I don't know. Matt, is that paint on your hand?
Yeah.
Is your hand covered in paint?
Yeah, it's like all over me.
So let's go back to some things on Twitter. Oh, Josh Radko. Okay, I'm excited.
Oh, I know what he's gonna say. Visage.
Visage. We didn't talk about Visage.
That is a legitimately scary game.
Yes.
Like,
let me tell you what he said, though. Like, I have to read Josh's actual comment. He said, Visage is the absolute fucking scariest video game, period. I'm a horror fanatic, and nothing comes close to the PT's successor. The Kojima influence is very strong in that game. It's absolutely brilliant, and it scares me even thinking about it.
Yeah, I think I made it a 10th into that game. I do want to go back and play it. But yeah, it's frightening. That's like one of those games where, like, inching forward and making progress, like, you like, I mean, seriously, Justin, you played it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I haven't beat it either because it's to go back to what you were saying about like people that like challenge and stuff. I think that's why inherently some of us really like stuff like Tormented Souls. There's that risk reward. Like, I can only save at this point. I only have so many bullets. When you add that tension in, it puts you in a different kind of frame, and you have to be like almost like you're calculating what you're going to do next. And with Visage, not only is it cryptic in how you progress, but it's like scary as hell. So you're just like, okay, I'm gonna walk a little further, and I don't know where I'm going because I don't know what I'm doing.
Is there actually enemies in that game?
I never got to them.
Yes,
but there is enemies.
But not that you fight, not that you like combat wise. From them? No, it's like things that
I never experienced any combat. The best way to explain my experience in the short period of time is imagine that you're in a huge house, that it's that feeling of being completely all alone, but yet there's like a presence, but you can't see the presence necessarily. But it does such a good job of conveying that you're not alone, and like it just builds like terror of
just like PT.
Like, yeah, of like walking into a dark room and there being a TV on and just static. Like you just hear that.
Wasn't the Medium a lot like that? Wasn't the Medium a psychological game?
Oh, the Medium doesn't hold a candle to.
But I mean, for people who've never heard of Visage, Medium is more.
PT's the closest thing I would say that comes to mind. Whereas the Medium's like a third person, like the game is kind of guiding you along. Where in Visage, you're basically. It's kind of like you're feeling your way through the dark to navigate forward, and you're slowly piecing things together, but the game does not hold your hand or communicate what you're supposed to be doing at all.
Is that why you would say that neither of you have finished it yet? Because it's combining the scariest elements with very challenging.
Like obscure puzzles that you can't.
It's very obscure. Yeah, it's very obscure, and I love that. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I don't think it's because it's too scary. It's very scary. But I guess I didn't know what I was doing, and I think Twitter also has a lot to do with that because you're on Twitter and you see everybody playing the new game that's out, and you kind of have this. I mean, at least I do. I'm speaking for myself, but you kind of have that pressure to play, so you can also participate in the communication or the conversation at hand. And nobody's talking about Visage at all. And even when I would mention it, nobody would talk to me about Visage. So that's kind of boring, But now this would be a perfect time for me to play it because I'm not really keeping up. I should
play it. And I want to hear all about it. Like, you have to beat it and tell me all about it. We'll do a fucking episode on it. I don't give a shit. I just like it sounds amazing, and I just need.
Maybe I should get it.
You should.
Yes.
Yeah, you really absolutely should because it's. I mean, legit. It's scary. It's like. It's scary.
Yeah, and you like you were saying, it just it doesn't hold your hand, so that's immediately a strike against it for more casual players because they're going to get frustrated. So you got to go into it with a good mindset of like you're going to be feeling through the dark and
you could just
you're going to
look
be
stuff
terrified.
up if you got stuck.
Oh, yeah, correct.
True.
You can always
It's
do
just
that.
different because I don't think the game has great systems necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can find like light bulbs and you can light candles as like a light source. There's not really an inventory management, right, Justin?
There is a little bit. Like you can hold like 4 different things and it's got this weird
hold
system
them,
of holding
right?
2 things, at once.
So
but there's like
you have to manage your psychological kind of resolve, and you can find pills like anti-anxiety medicine in the environment, but I don't remember being able to like stow it on my person. You could carry it with you, but you had to find it in the moment. So it's not like a survival horror where you can just stock up on stuff. You literally have to remember where everything is, and it's like, oh, I need to go down this hallway, but it's too dark. And as I start to go down this hallway, I start to lose my sanity. So I got to go upstairs and grab that light bulb that I left upstairs and then come back down and put the light bulb in. It's really obscure, but you should absolutely play it.
And you do get there is a clause that you get eventually.
Yeah,
that lets you put stuff in it. So that you can eventually put things away, but you still have to go there. So like say you grab an item that you need to progress in the story, like a puzzle, and you drop it, you can then go back to that closet you end up using, and it could be there if you lost it. So that way, so they kind of give you a little bit of finagle room, but it's terrifying. It really is, and it's not like I didn't finish it because I got to a point where I was completely and utterly lost, and I kept dying because I was losing my sanity, and this thing was in my face, and I was like, I can't handle this pressure anymore right now. So I put it down, and and like you were saying, nobody was really talking about it, which was kind of odd. And another one nobody talks about a lot is Song of Horror, and
never even heard of that.
Yeah, Song of Horror is a third person. It's take Resident Evil and Eternal Darkness style of gameplay and mash them together. There's no actual like physical combat, but it's static camera angles, some decent to obscure puzzles, and kind of sanity effect type things going on. Ooh. And it's multiple episodes with multiple characters. And when you die with all the characters in an episode, you have to start over. So it kind of gives you that same kind of tension and stuff on in general. So that's a really good one. And hardly anybody talks about it. But those games, man.
Did you ever play Clive Barker's Undying?
Yes.
Dude.
Never heard of it.
That was like that was another game, like a PC game back in the day that I played. And my friend had it. I always wanted it, but I never had a good enough PC. But yeah, that was a really cool game too.
It was very scary at times, and it was like a perfect combination of weird macabre horror and shooter mechanics, Doom stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff in that too.
And I got to give a huge shout out to Alan Wake Remastered. I love that.
Dude, that's on my docket, man. That's probably the next game.
Oh, Alan Wake is such a good game.
Yeah,
Remedy is such a good developer.
Yeah, they are really good.
They are so good.
Sweet. I'm loving all this extra stuff that I didn't think about. The Twitter fam. The Twitter fam never lets us down. Extra Spooky Cat Dad said Until Dawn. I know, I love the names. Until Dawn. That's the one with Rami Malek, right? It's kind of like
That's the first thing I saw him in, actually.
Same.
Yeah.
It's also got the dude that was in Detroit Become Human. The black dude.
The guy that him? Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus.
Oh, son of a bitch, Jesse something. He was in that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty positive. I'll look it up right now. You can keep talking.
And then, so House of Ash just came out, the new Dark Pictures game.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing people are saying that's the best one yet of their Dark Pictures. So.
Well, I didn't really dig Man of Medan, and what was the one right after Man of Medan?
Hope.
Little Hope. I didn't play Little Hope.
Little Hope had more of a Silent Hill vibe, and I don't know if it's true, but rumors were that they Supermassive was trying to pitch a Silent Hill game to Konami at some point. Again, this is all just hearsay. I don't know if it's true, but that supposedly because that didn't happen, they took ideas from what they were doing to make Little Hope for their Dark Pictures game. So,
that's cool.
But IGN well, I don't follow them often, but somebody showed me a review, and I found it was interesting because I didn't love Man of Medan, but I enjoyed it. I liked Little Hope a little better, and I just like that genre because it's like you're playing a movie, and it's like those choose your own adventure books, but digitized. And but supposedly, according to IGN, they didn't like the first two games a lot, and they said that House of Ash was the best effort yet, closest to Until Dawn. So that's pretty good remarks, and I hope that's true.
No, he is not in Until Dawn. he was in Detroit Become Human, and I just watched Cabin in the Woods. He was in Cabin in the Woods.
Ah, okay.
That's
such a good movie. Such a good movie.
Something. What's his name?
I don't know. Well, it is the same dude though that is in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the. I hate calling it a game, but it is a game. Erica, which not scary.
No,
but psychologically, I did a couple playthroughs, and I'm still not sure what's real and like what I imagined and what really happened. And I've played it multiple times and tried to pick different things and like took notes in a fucking book. And like, I'm not sure if I'm the crazy one or not. So to me, that kind of like psychology to deliver to me as a player, I think is phenomenal. That's the horror that I actually really did.
You would probably like Little Hope then. That's all I'm gonna say on that one.
I have a question to see what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
Is there a game that you played that was not a horror game per se, or a game that you entered into without knowing what it was? And what's the scariest game that wasn't a horror game that you've ever played?
That's a deep one. Let me think on that.
Ooh.
Is the Metro series considered horror?
I don't know.
It's sci-fi. It's like sci-fi horror.
The first two games for sure are like survival horror-ish.
Okay,
Exodus is more like open world action.
I consider those horror. Fear is horror. Alien Isolation is horror.
I have one game.
I can't.
But I don't want to say it just in case.
Say yours so we can.
Yeah, so we don't say it instead of you, and then we take your thunder.
Did you guys ever play Gone Home?
Yeah.
Yes, the 2D one, right?
Gone Home was the first person one where you're like exploring the house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and like I remember initially because that was a game where people were like, "Don't read anything about it, just play it." And I remember playing it, and then you start to like uncover a lot of secret stuff. And I thought that the game was turning into a horror game, and it was like it was very creepy until you figure out like what's going on. But yeah, I would say Gone Home for me. That was probably like it builds a kind of a creepy tension.
I can't think of a game. I can't think right now of a game that I played that I didn't already expect it to be scary because it was a horror.
That's a tough question.
Could I say
BioShock maybe?
Yeah, BioShock.
Oh yes.
Could I say Prey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Prey, I was more like, oh, it's sci-fi, but there was times where I was literally like, I don't. And like when you go out in space and stuff, I was like, oh god, like.
Yes, dude. Prey has like a Stanley Kubrick kind of a horror.
Yeah.
That's not considered horror, is it?
I mean,
it's an immersive sim.
Yeah.
Horror.
Well, it's like when people think horror, I don't think Prey is something that comes up in their head.
Definitely, it has horror elements.
Horror vibes to me and scary vibes.
It's got like The Shining. If The Shining were sci-fi kind of vibes to me, like that, just like that, like pin drop in outer space kind of a vibe.
Oh, beautiful. I can think of one. We were playing a game on the Switch. I think it's called Into the Sun, and it has like Nikola Tesla references, and you're trying to solve. So I believe it's touted as like a kind of a mystery puzzle game, and there's some legitimate jump scares where like the motherfucker like jumped out and stabbed us to death. Like, and I didn't expect. that.
Close to the Sun.
Close to the Sun. Yes.
Yes.
Is that considered a horror game?
I never heard of it.
I mean, when you do Google it, it says is a first-person horror adventure, but it doesn't. When I started, wasn't sure it was a horror game, so it does
not feel like a horror game at all. And I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to solve stuff, and it's got some puzzles in it and some solving, and like it's kind of a mystery thing. And then the horror stuff just fucking jumps out of nowhere, and it's tense, and I just didn't expect that from us. I think sometimes in my mind I assume that all Switch games are made for a younger audience. It's probably me being stupid, but it's actually, I still haven't finished it yet, but that's good, and I was not expecting it to have like absolute fucking jump scares where we like jump, we're like, fuck, that motherfucker just stabbed us to death. So that
Metal Gear Solid 2 gets legit freaking creepy.
I used to be scared of the hallway before the cyborg ninja when I was a kid.
Oh,
all
yeah.
the bodies. That it used to terrify me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're also a kid too. That shit is terrifying. That's actually funny
I was the worst.
though, that you asked that question, because friggin' frack, Pillow Fort's wife, mentioned a title that I don't think a lot of people would think would be scary, and that's Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yep.
Isn't that an
Still
anime
haven't
game?
played that.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that I don't
What
think
is it?
It's a visual novel.
It's a visual novel.
but apparently a very scary one.
Yeah,
Like,
like
So it's
it
actually
doesn't
really
look-
good.
It
like a
doesn't
dating
look at
game.
all like
Yeah.
a scary, like it would be scary.
Interesting. I wondered why everyone was playing that, but yeah, I guess more than meets the eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said that ended up being scary. The person you love the most said Amnesia.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
don't
The
think
Dark Descent.
Yeah, we didn't bring any of that up because that.
Oh,
I've never
and-
played it.
Soma. What? Did you ever play Soma?
No, I haven't. Though.
Oh, ooh, that
dude. Put Soma on your list.
that's a
It's,
deep
I
level.
I
horror.
bought it specifically to play this month, but
Dude, Soma, as he said, that's like a deep sci-fi horror. Like it deals with some really heavy themes.
When it
Yeah,
ended, I just stared at my screen for a while.
once I finish
Oh.
Metroid, maybe I'll either play that or Visage or Visage.
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 Visage these nuts.
Yeah, games that stick with you. Games that. Put on the glasses, Justin. Games
Okay.
that stick with you like that are
Can-
special.
Can I ask a question for all of you to answer?
Now, see what if you're listening to this, you're not really realizing Justin has the most ridiculous pair of glasses on right now. I don't even know how to describe how his face looks. So if you're not watching, you're missing out on what's happening right now, and I don't even know what the fuck is happening right now.
I wanted to ask what everybody's like. What's a game or a horror game that maybe a lot of people don't talk about that you really liked, or maybe has been forgotten? And for me, that would be The Suffering.
I never played that
Suffering is
one.
Fucking awesome, dude.
That's
Yeah.
the prison one, right?
Yes, the prison one. And that game was all sorts of messed up. That was another game I thought kind of pushed the envelope of cursing and gore and stuff, because you're basically a prisoner in a jail, and people are like demon creatures are spawning and coming into the prison, and prisoners are escaping and shivving each other and killing each other. I mean, it's chaos, and there's action horror, and there's also psychological horror in it. So, and that is sadly a franchise that, when Midway, went defunct, it just, I guess nobody bought the rights or whatever. But man, like just imagining a Suffering game and graphics today would just like.
Yeah,
be
dude.
fantastic.
Suffering was like Silent Hill meets Shawshank Redemption.
That's okay.
and I will. Sorry.
Well,
and I
Justin
will.
needs time to recover.
I will say it was really cool because it was a third person game, but you could go from first to third. It was one of the first games on consoles, I think, that let you do that. You
Love
could play
that.
it as a third or a first person, however you wanted. So, yeah, very cool.
That's a good question. I'm going to say Manhunt. Manhunt was just that fucking good in so many ways, and it just like it's one of those games that's going to be lost in the abyss, and very few people are going to have experienced what we experienced in playing it. So I would pick Manhunt. Matt, what about you?
I don't know if it's necessarily scary, and I don't know if any of you have played it, but I'm gonna say Splatterhouse.
Oh, of course I've played it.
That's a game that nobody talks about, and obviously when they remade it, it didn't review well. But like, I thought it was a sweet game, like super gory, just crazy monsters and shit. Good
Are you
game.
talking about the remake one?
Yeah. Oh, the originals are good too, but I really liked the remake. I thought it was cool.
Splatterhouse sounds like something a Quentin Tarantino film. Like if
It's
I
like
heard Splatterhouse, I'd be like, "Oh, Quentin Tarantino movie,
So
awesome!" Look,
it's
he's
just
got a copy.
yeah, I can get mine too, but it's just you basically your character is possessed by a haunted mask that turns you into this big hulking dude, and you have to rescue your girlfriend from this mad doctor, and you just beat up monsters and huge bosses and stuff like that. All horror themed. You get like a chainsaw and stuff. It's cool.
Very cathartic.
It is.
Dude, I mean, honestly, I'm just going to go with the most recent one, which is definitely Tormented Souls. I think so many people are sleeping on that game. It's ridiculous. Like Tormented Souls is literally, it literally feels like those old school survival horrors, like the Silent Hills and the old Resident Evils. Like if it were made today, I mean, I beat that game with the optional tank controls. And I think like, yeah, I think Tormented Souls sits in the pantheon of one of the greatest survival horror games. Personally,
Me too.
I think music. It's got the music. It's got the save rooms. It's got the limited saves. It's got fantastic puzzles. I mean, the puzzles will rack your brain in that game, especially like
yeah.
Yeah, like the puzzles in that game are phenomenal. It's just very clever. A lot of its mechanics don't outstay its welcome, and it's got that classic survival ending. You know, like in my opinion, Tormented Souls is probably the best. I like Tormented Souls better than I like the Resident Evil games, recent Resident Evil games.
Me too.
I think the remake of Resident Evil 2 is definitely the best Resident Evil game I've played since probably Code Veronica for me. Code Veronica was like the last great Resident Evil for me, but I really dig the fixed cams, the tank controls, and the puzzles. Like, and a lot of people hate all of those things.
I know.
And Tormented Souls was very, it did not apologize for what it does, and it makes no compromises. It's
why I love it so
much.
much.
Survival horror game that just through and through.
And
I'm hoping when it comes out on Switch that it kind of has a second life there.
Yeah,
I really
once
hope.
The Switch
and I
version
mean,
comes out.
it's hard to recommend too, you know, because it's like a lot. I just don't think a lot of people will probably jive with it. And I think that the game should be played with tank controls.
Yeah.
I think if there's one area where they shouldn't have skimped, it's that, because I think if you use the regular joystick controls, see, the thing is with fixed cams, with tank controls, forward is always forward. When you push forward, you're always moving forward, regardless of how the camera changes. But with all the camera changes, you have to reorient which way you're pushing the joystick, which can kind of get really clunky. And I think if you can get used to tank controls, you should absolutely play that game with the tank controls.
I think they should have just had an option to let you put tank controls on the stick.
I agree. I really wish that they would do that.
I wonder if anybody's going to pick that.
Because it's hard for me to play with the D-pad. Like my thumb automatically goes to the stick. So
I get it. But it was one of those things when I finally got used to the D-pad. I couldn't play it any other way, because the problem is the joystick. When you push it, you automatically run. It doesn't. You have to literally be contextual with how you push the joystick. Whereas using the D-pad, one, forward is always forward. So regardless if the camera's changing, ultimately I feel like you have more control over the character. But I'm weird. I love tank controls. So.
Justin, remember when you were wondering if they were going to release another disc of Tormented Souls that had the updated version?
Yeah.
The Switch cartridge probably will.
Yeah, so the Switch version, and the game didn't come out on PS4 yet either. So I hope we get a bigger audience for it. And so what Matt's talking about is I got the game early for to talk about and review, and I was playing like an early version that I guess was complete but not finished. So you could beat it, but I was running into all these things that like you would get towards the end of the game and go through this door and it would just plop you in this hallway to get to the final boss. And I was trying to talk to one of the devs. And I was like, yeah, this is happening. And he's like, that's an old build. And I was like, oh, well. And like things like the ammo, the shotgun ammo was just like plain looking boxes. And so after the update came out, I haven't played through the whole thing again yet, but I did hop around some of my saves, and they added in new environmental effects. They added in new changes to the puzzles. So I was like, man, it was kind of really fascinating to see, because I saw puzzles that completely changed, environments that became better. It was really wild to see how much.
Dude, you should absolutely replay it.
Oh, I'm going to. So you know that scene where you first get introduced to the creature that floats around towards the end? It's like eating on a body or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my version, when I was playing, it was eating it, and that scene was completely silent. And I was like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So you know, it was, and even still, the game was great. That's the thing. It was still great. It still had its core mechanics in place, its atmosphere. But when I went back and looked at all the stuff that changed as I hopped through some saves, I was like, wow, things were just completely even better. So I want to replay it again.
Yeah, Tormented Souls for me is personally on top 5 favorite games this year.
Me too.
I'm curious to see if anybody else picked it now. I got to go through this list.
They definitely didn't. That's a problem.
Well, let's see.
No taste.
The person you love most, Eternal Darkness. I mean, that one's fun.
I'm actually playing Eternal Darkness right now.
He definitely wants to see a remaster of that. Pillow Fort says Dead Space. Donna says Subnautica.
I can't believe we haven't talked about Dead Space this whole time.
I fucking can't.
Yeah, talk about it, Matt. Take us away.
Oh, I don't know. No, you keep talking. Don't put me on.
You did a whole video on it, Matt. You're the expert
Go watch my video.
Exactly.
Ah, there you go. Shit, there, plug it, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, I guess just go watch
Megamat X86 on YouTube.
What is it? Where can we find it, Matt?
Megamat X86 on YouTube.
Send me the link.
Video about Dead Space.
Send me the link to the actual video about Dead Space, and I'll put it in the posts.
I can't believe they're remaking Dead Space.
Yeah,
isn't that awesome?
Crazy. I hope it kicks ass.
I hope it's me too.
I think quite a few people picked Dead Space already, so I'm pretty sure it would.
It's scary, man.
Sell well.
And I want to say for this year too, really, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, but Little Nightmares 2 blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And I liked the first one okay enough, but not to the level I like Little Nightmares 2. Little Nightmares 2 has some extremely unsettling things in it. I'll just say that.
So what was your final verdict on Of Sound Mind or In Sound Mind?
Oh, I loved it. I platinumed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had to play it like 3 times because I messed up something.
I didn't finish it.
Yeah, so it's for an indie horror game, it is extremely well done. With variation, like variety. It kind of has a first person survival horror classic vibe to it. It's got the like weird stuff going on and like what's real, what's not. And it just each area introduces a new mechanic / enemy type that kind of chases you and does things with you. So I was really impressed. And I don't platinum many games, but I
have been lately.
Yeah, I know lately
with platinum.
Just like 2, I think, but yeah, it was really good. But what happened is there's a trophy for getting all the pills in the game, like all of them. And I beat the game, and I started a new game, and I didn't realize it was going to kind of like erase what I was doing.
Oh no!
And I did something, and I thought I had them all, but it was literally like I had to get all of them. So I started over again. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I took the Matt way. I'm gonna do it, and I just did it. And then that was it. So, yeah.
Not me. I'd be like, fuck it. I didn't get all the pills. I just don't.
That's
like
me.
That's kind of how I am now. I haven't been getting notification.
Many I don't even no fucks given. It's a pill in a game. Zudis says Doom 3 actually scared him a lot. I don't.
Doom 3 is good.
Yeah.
Mark Deschamps said Resident Evil from 2002.
Hell yeah. That's my favorite survival horror game.
There's a couple folks on here.
I wish Capcom would re-release those 1, 2, and 3, just the regular versions.
Oh, the regular versions.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. They
should put it on PS5 or
classic Resident Evil on
collection.
Yes,
like the GTA collection, but Resident Evil.
That'd be tight.
That would.
What is this place?
Wow, what a mansion!
Fabulous Haley. The Silent Hill games. She said pretty much all the Silent Hill games are very intense for her and kind of hard.
I beat 1 through 3 this year.
Oh, here's an old one.
Still great.
Here's one. Check this out. Fabulous Haley. This is a good one. Bram Stoker had a Dracula game on the Sega.
What?
Yeah, she said that one was really scary for her.
Is it like a side scroller?
Dude, I have no idea. I never even heard of it. So
Do you play as Dracula?
No, you play as Harker.
Oh.
And there was one on Sega CD that was like a live action FMV side scrolling thing, which is really weird. I can't describe it. You have to look it up on YouTube. But I spent so many god awful hours trying to beat that game and just wanting to just.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna look it up just for shits and giggles because I'm sure I haven't heard of it. Joey Cisco, my boy, Fear for sure, still holds up. It's horrifying.
Hi, Joey.
Yes, Joey, it fucking is.
Joey.
Yuso Vinny says Resident Evil 2 remake. He hates the feeling of being chased.
That's the best part of the game. That is the best part of the game.
Give it to you.
Mr. X is the best part of Resident Evil 2.
No. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, some people want to take Mr. X out. I'm just like, man, he's so great.
Yeah.
Whenever people complain about the persistent pursuer in Resident Evil, I'm like, it's part of the damn game.
Yeah,
man.
those are scary.
Part of the game. It should be in everyone.
Like,
everyone.
The tension there is so fucking terrifying.
Well, there's a difference.
Like when you're trying to solve the bookshelf puzzle. Oh my god!
With the jack, and he comes in.
Oh yeah. You gotta juke his ass.
Yeah, just run him in circles.
But like knowing that, seeing an enemy and feeling like I'm not supposed to be able to beat that and running away is just a terrifying feeling.
But you do eventually beat him.
Well, not the fucking alien bitch in the isolation.
I don't know. I never finished that game.
The thing where Mr. X I know could suck is for somebody who's never played a Resident Evil game and they just waste all their ammo trying to kill Mr. X. That would suck. But like
the game should just say, "Don't shoot Mr. X."
Yeah, you can't kill him.
That's part of the experience. Like, do you try to go on the offense and attack, or do you run? I mean, that's.
You learn. I mean, you got to learn. It's just like in Dark Souls and other games. You got to learn by experiencing, and the game's not going to say, "Hey, don't run after this guy." You learn, and then you start over and all that. And the funny thing is once you know how to handle those sequences in those games aren't even that long. To be honest,
it's like it takes less than like 15 minutes to get out of the police station.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things you got to learn. But I get it. Being chased by something that you cannot defeat or combat is a very inherent fear for people, and that fear turns into a frustration, which turns into, this game's bad, I don't like this thing in this game. But in reality, part of me is like, nah, you guys like it, you little motherfuckers like it, you just gotta learn how to hang with the big boys, okay?
The big dogs. Run with the big dogs.
I mean, Isolation was a fantastic game. It just took so long and we were both going back and forth like, we fucking suck at this, why can't we beat this? And then we're like, she's getting smarter than us now. Great fucking AI in that game. But that's part of the experience. That's what terrified us so much is, oh, you can't fucking beat her. Like, and
the limited saves. Again, it was one of those, you had to get in that thing and put your card in. And
I mean, I think that's a damn good game, even though I was a giant chicken shit.
There's a reason. People still talk about that game all the time.
It could kill you while you were saving. If you had just started to do it.
Yes.
I've actually I didn't play more than 10 minutes of that game.
Alien
Isolation?
Isolation?
You didn't like it, or you just moved on to something
I don't
else?
think it was the right time.
You might like it now.
That's one I really need to play it.
It's a good game, and it is filled with tension, and I sort of kind of ruined part of it, so I'm sorry about that.
No, I don't. I can't even remember.
I'm
like a goldfish. Hi, I'm Tom.
New Dad Killer Gaming here says The Last of Us, particularly the hotel basement. I agree. Fuck that hotel basement.
The bloaters.
Last of Us.
You know, the trick is to put like mines all around before you start the generator.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's smart tactics, sir.
Here's another Sir Frosty. This circles back to when Gurney asked us, is there a game that you didn't think would be scary? Katamari Damacy. That's actually a puzzle-based game that ended up being quite a scary game.
Did it?
Of course.
I'm trying to think. What?
He said it. If you actually Google the game,
I never played it, or I never beat it, so I can't.
I never
speak
played
on
it.
I mean,
You'll have to tell us about it.
There are people on the. I had to Google it because when he said that to me, because I read a few.
You're talking about the game where you roll things around and just collect them onto the ball, right? That's what we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's scary, like it's freaky the way the characters look. I'm just trying
It is a weird game.
It's weird, but I'm trying to figure out what's scary about it.
But
like what they found scary.
Sometimes weird can be psychological, and that can mess with your head. And
I never beat it, so I don't know what happens.
I don't either.
You roll.
The ball gets bigger.
Basically, you keep rolling.
Maybe
and
it's
then
like
you get, you're rolling the planets up and stuff.
Maybe it was like scary as in like an existential way of where it made you
feel
tiny.
Yeah,
your existence.
Just a grain of sand.
Exactly.
Yeah,
dust in the wind, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me out of the Matrix.
God.
They're trying to get me. They're trying to get me here.
AV Goat said, thank you, AV Goat. Alien Isolation, scariest game he's ever played. Gurney, you got to play that one.
I'm gonna re-download it as soon as I'm gonna start downloading it now.
It is like
play Visage.
Play Visage.
I'm gonna finish Metroid first. As soon as we're done this, I'm gonna beat that last boss, and then I'll think about what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
you gotta make a list and just go down the list.
Think.
And you should
only have a couple days left.
You gotta play Visage and Soma, dude.
In a week. It's almost November.
Hey, just keep moving into November then.
Let's expand spooky season into November.
Correct.
It goes all the way to January.
Until Christmas happens, man. It's spooky time.
Spooky time can be as long as you want it to be. Play scary games.
My whole life is spooky.
All year round because there's no wrong way to go.
I'm like, is that a metaphor? What?
Is there any game, before we wrap up, is there anything that we didn't cover that we should have covered as far as really good horror games or really scary games? Or
I've got one idea.
What?
Yeah. Kind of to go back on the idea of like what's a game that wasn't really a scary game per se, but like, scared you. What about moments in games that scared you that weren't necessarily scary games? So my example would be the nightmare sequences in Max Payne were freaking terrifying.
I was going to mention those earlier with the baby crying.
Oh my!
When you're running through the blood trail.
Yeah,
that's just terrifying.
Just scare. You're like, why is that in this game? It just almost doesn't belong. But is there anything that you guys can think of off the top of your heads?
Actually, something that didn't fucking belong. One of the goddamn Black Ops game had that nightmare thing with all the fucking zombies that were coming in the house. I didn't fucking like that. Like I don't fucking like. You don't just throw zombies on me, dude. That was really fucking uncool to be in that chick's brain. And no, I didn't like that. That was entirely unnecessary. I didn't replay the game because I was like, I'm not fucking doing this. Great question.
I think the Metal Gear Solid 2 part where like reality literally starts to kind of dissipate when you start to realize what's going on, and it kind of breaks the fourth wall. And the first time I played Metal Gear Solid 2, I was too young like to really understand what was going on. So I really thought the game was legit talking to me. Like I thought it was talking to me, and that freaked me out.
It is freaky when the colonel tells you to turn off the console.
Yeah,
it still scares me now. Yeah,
fish and nailed.
Maybe he was talking.
What's that?
Maybe he was talking to you.
He is.
I guess that's true.
I really need to play Revengeance. Have you played Metal Gear Solid Revengeance?
I actually am stubborn, and I don't want to play it because
that's how I was too. That's why I didn't play it. But
everybody's always like, it's fun. But I'm like, yeah, but it's like the series ended at 4.
Yeah,
like 4 is the.
Just play it as an action game and just disassociate yourself from Metal Gear, because the action is insane and it makes Raiden look like the baddest motherfucker in all of Metal Gear. So but
like Matt, the issue I have is that Raiden gets his nice skin at the end of the 4, and Revengeance just turns him right back into the cyborg ninja that he was. It's like it just doesn't thematically. I'm like it takes my nice little fairy tale wrap up and then I don't know, So I'm conflicted with that one.
Yeah, I feel the same. That's why I never played it, but I just see so many people talking about that it's good all the time. So
I'm
It's
pretty
like 6 hours.
I'm not a huge fan of Platinum games.
you don't like Bayonetta?
I just tried to play Bayonetta and I couldn't get into it. I was like, what in the flipping fuck is going on?
I love Bayonetta.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
So, which one's your favorite?
The first one.
The first one? But I didn't like Devil May Cry either.
I'm not a Devil May Cry fan. I don't know. I just like Bayonetta. I'm not even like a huge action, character action guy. I like those games. I just think they're cool.
Well, you're totally allowed.
He's so calm about everything. Matt just like delivers everything so calmly. Every time he's been on the show, everything is it's just very calm.
Does Matt have
a patient Buddha?
Does Matt have a choice for his like scary thing in a game? Did he say? Did I miss it?
No, I'm just not sure. It's really a tough one.
I'll give you a good one.
Fucking crazy.
Okay, another good one. The Batman game.
Oh, the Batman game. Yes, the morgue.
Yeah, the morgue.
Oh yeah, the scarecrow part is crazy. Like, the reviewers, when they reviewed Arkham Asylum, were told that they could not talk about that part because that was supposed to be like a huge surprise for people, and it was literally the best part of the game. I'm so glad that wasn't spoiled. Like, these days, that would have been spoiled before you even played it.
I'm convinced that Arkham Asylum led to me having a breakdown in my early 20s because, like, I was such a stoner in my early 20s, and I remember playing that specific part high, and it scared the piss out of me. The piss out of me, because, like, all the voices are whispering, like, and like it doesn't hold back. Like, it starts talking about his dead parents, and I'm like, what in the fuck?
Fucking cool. It was like the first Batman game that actually explored that part of Batman, which is weird. Like, not just his parents dying, but like how messed up he is from his parents dying.
For real, it really handles some really heavy concepts.
The Arkham games are so good.
They really are.
That's why I'm excited for Suicide Squad. Even though it's not Batman, it's Rocksteady. I know it's going to be good.
Rocksteady, but hopefully,
they haven't made a game since Arkham Knight. That's so crazy. Long ago.
Which is the best Batman game?
It is. I've come around. People still say it's City, and that's what it is. But Arkham Knight is the best Batman simulator.
I'm convinced that people just say that Knight sucks because of the reviews that they read telling them that the Batmobile was shit.
But it's actually the best implementation of the Batmobile.
It's great.
It's there is no other way they could have done it. They promised the Batmobile, and they delivered the Batmobile.
They just made you shoot a little too much, but man,
I can agree with that. But like, maybe if they toned down the tank battles a bit, people wouldn't be so. But it was cool. Like it's the natural evolution of the games. You had 100%. Asylum, you had City, and now they had Batman plus the Batmobile.
I do feel like, though, if we could have been a fly on the wall in the development, like, do you know how much fucking money we're spending on developing this Batmobile? We're gonna fucking use it, okay? We're gonna use it.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, because I have to eat dinner and it's almost midnight, I'm gonna say something that makes 3 heads explode on the show. Not gonna be my head. Mad Max is better than all the Batman games. There, I said it. That's me. I'm sorry. Matt's about to drop his drink. Justin suddenly lost internet connection.
I really like Mad Max, so I can't really say.
I thought that Mad Max cohesively as an entire game with all of its individual elements.
Go tweet that.
Working together. Okay.
Do it.
It's not a big deal. It's only my opinion. I know.
I just please tweet it.
People will, like, the Batman lovers will come out of their little they'll come running like Quasimodo. Like,
when you tweet it, you got to do it in that way that it's like, there is no doubt that Mad Max is a better franchise than the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah, with a GIF that says fact.
Yeah, fact.
I don't know how these clout chasers work, so I'll have to go unblock some accounts so I can see how they do it and take notes and try to put that shit down. So where can the folks who are, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just look at the pinned post and you'll see plenty of links below. We have links where you can follow all these fine fellows on Twitter and also see Matt's Dead Space review. But for the people who are listening, since we're really a real podcast now, Justin, where can folks find you? What's your handle?
Oh, I don't know if they can handle my handle, but
probably not.
If I have to say, it's at Justin's_gaming_. Sorry, but yeah, Justin's_gaming_ Twitter. I just do the most talk on there, and yeah, that's the easiest way to talk to me.
It's good shit. I love you. You always deliver. You and Matt both deliver funny shit at the right moments. When Twitter's going south, you guys raise it back up with glorious memes and ridiculous fucking...
I haven't been paying attention to anything on Twitter lately. I don't know what's going on.
It's okay.
I've just been tweeting about work.
But it's still been fun. It's still been fun. And he's
my dear boy
right now. He's covered in paint. He's got paint all over his arms and his fingers. There it is. Where can folks find you? The meme
Megamat X86 on Twitter and YouTube, but I haven't uploaded anything on YouTube in a very long time. So
that's
go to Twitter.
The guy's hilarious. Follow him. And Gurnico, where can we find you?
You can find me eventually, maybe again on Twitter.
Eventually, you're coming back. GURNICO. Yeah, I will come back. I am going to hang off there just a little bit while and savor my sanity. But yeah, I'll be back on there.
We'll be back one day, folks. So
we miss you.
Give him a follow.
Do you think Boki will ever come back?
Dude, I miss Boki.
Same.
We all miss Boki. One day he'll be back. Yeah, he's doing well. I spoke to Alex, his brother, and him and Nathalie they're doing well. They're happy. They're okay. They're healthy. They're just enjoying life, in their smaller group.
Here's to you, Boki.
Yeah, he'll be back
for
one
you,
day.
buddy.
He'll be back one day with a list
Elden
of
Ring.
fucking gaming achievements. He'll be back. He'll be back with a list of gaming achievements.
He's got to be on the Elden Ring episode.
I know it's going to be so weird if he's not.
Guys, he's going to pop up like you'll hear like when Ariel got her voice back. There was like you saw the Little Mermaid. It was like and then like Boki will come up out of the ash.
Wouldn't it be great if he didn't come back, but we're all playing Elden Ring and he just comes in and starts killing all of us or something?
That's the second scenario that will happen. Is we'll all be like, "Wow,
well,
this
he won't get Gurnico because he'll just unplug the internet."
And then he just like jumps in and kills us all and steals all our fucking souls or whatever. So one of those two things is going to happen, and we pretty much know it. And I might have dreams tonight about Justin in those fucking glasses for anybody who's not watching.
I hope so.
By the way, dear Game Junkie listeners, thanks for still listening. We have been ranting and raving on, and we appreciate your patience, dear listener. This has been a test of your resolve, and if you are still listening, you have passed.
And you can beat Returnal.
You can all beat Returnal. You just got to try.
I will one day. I will learn some fucking patience. Jesus Christ, okay? One day I'll have fucking patience, all right? Just today's not the day. I'm very Norwegian and very fucking Irish. I've been tested, all right? So thanks again for another fantastic week. Technically, this is a bonus episode. So
Happy Halloween, everybody.
So happy Halloween, everybody. Halloween. And we will see you guys next week. As always, bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh, yeah.
Elden Ring.